How is this, guys? Are you hearing me now? There was one little button which wasn't pressed, and obviously that just screwed up the entire audio setup. Hopefully this is better. Let me quickly know in the comment section if you can hear me now. That would be nice, so we know that everything is okay and working, and we're ready to start with today's show. Let me just quickly adjust some of that light. Excellent. Sound seems to be better now. Thank you very much for letting me know. I'm just gonna adjust my computer here quickly. Hello, John. Great to see you back here at the show. Juhani, welcome back. Pleasure to have you. Rebecca, I know it's a very early wake up for you this morning. I really appreciate you coming to the show. Rebecca is currently in Mexico, and I think it's around 7 o'clock in the morning for her. So I really appreciate you, Rebecca, coming to waking up this early and turning up to the show here on the channel. Excellent. And we also have Sesimbra Tours watching. Hello to you as well. Great to have you here. So let me just quickly adjust some of the lighting here. It seems to be just a little bit too bright from my side, I think. We'll just adjust that quickly a little bit, and then we'll start going into today's episode. All right. We'll leave it as it is. The remote is not working as it should be, so we'll just leave it. I think it's not too bad. Anyways, so we got quite a few things to talk about today. Black Friday is the big one, so I'm going to be talking a little bit about Black Friday and the cool deals that are on this year. If you haven't seen my video that dropped earlier this week on Tuesday, I have compiled the 5 best Black Friday deals for underwater image makers in that video, which as I said, dropped on Tuesday. So if you haven't seen that, that's definitely a good watch to see and to get some inspiration there. I've got a couple of things that I would like to talk to you about, just briefly covering some of the best deals that I found out on the internet, especially, as I said, for us underwater image makers. One of them is definitely, if I can find it, is definitely if you're in the market for an action camera, the Insta360 Ace Pro. So this is not the Ace Pro 2. It's not the latest and greatest of their action cam models, but it's the predecessor, the original Ace Pro. That one's discounted by 33% at the moment, which is actually quite a good deal, I find, especially for someone who just wants to get into action camera filming underwater, or if you're looking for a backup camera for your larger rig, that could be a very good option there. John's asking if Rebecca is planning on attending the April trip. Just quickly looking through the comments here. If I may answer that question for you, Rebecca, yes, Rebecca is coming. I hope that's okay that I'm saying this, Rebecca. We do have a few spots still left on that trip while we're on this topic, but I'll talk a little bit more about the trip a little later in this video, because I've got some news to share with you guys about the trip to the Maldives, the upcoming underwater videography trip. But as I said, I'll talk to you about that a little later in a couple minutes time here during this show. There's some news that I would like to share with you there. But yeah, we do still have a couple of spots left. So well, you'll see the links later on in the chat, so you can go and check out the trip if you're interested. Who else is actually in here today? If you're watching, drop us a comment. Let us know where you're watching from. And you can also, because we're going to be doing a Q&A session towards the end of today's show as always, so you can already, if you want, place your questions in the comment section or in the chat, I better say, so that we can pick them up as we go along. Maybe if I find an interesting question, I might answer it right away, or otherwise we'll get to them at the end of today's show, and we'll look at those questions there. Right. So, what's the next one? The next one on my list as a Black Friday deal is obviously Divefog. You can see them back here. Divefog is discounting their entire lineup. All that you can find on their store is discounted by 20% for this Black Friday period. It's only valid until tomorrow though. They have a bit of a compact, shorter Black Friday deal period. So if you're in the market for A or the best underwater smartphone housing, go and pick up one of the Divefog housings. They are discounted at 20%. Unfortunately, the pink one here and the silver one that you can see at the back there, these are the new colors that have just come out, but they're not available yet on their website. They will become available after the Black Friday sale. So unfortunately, these ones are not included in the 20% discount. But if you if you have really set your mind on a pink or silver housing, then you can get them after the Black Friday period. From my information, they should become available by like mid-December. So just in time for Christmas, I would say. Right, so the next thing that we have on the list, that I have on my list here, is the P1, an underwater scooter made by Lefit. This is also a really cool piece of gear. Those of you who have been on one of our previous underwater videography workshops, specifically the one in Indonesia this year, I had a couple of these units with me, and some of you were able to play around with them a little bit, so you know for yourself, you've witnessed for yourself how cool such an underwater scooter can be. And I'm happy to say that Lefit has actually they're giving you 10% as a Black Friday deal on their latest and greatest unit, the P1, which is a really cool unit to use underwater, and I can highly recommend to look into that if you're in the market for an underwater scooter. Another Black Friday deal, or I'd better say deals, plural, is what Backscatter is offering. As always, they have like a massive, big selection of deals available this year again. What I have picked out as sort of what stood out to me as an underwater image maker or videographer specifically is their deals on their 4300 macro wide underwater video lights. Still some of the best compact video lights on the market in my opinion, and they come with great discounts at this time. I think their discounts, their Black Friday period, holiday period, goes all the way through to the beginning of January next year. So you have a little bit of time there to pick something up if you want to get yourself something there. Next, I want to talk about something that is very special to me. I want to talk about a new course that I've just sort of announced. It's the Mastering Your GoPro Underwater course, a course that I have been asked about and requested. It was requested by quite a few of you guys for me to make, and I finally got around to investing the time to make that course. It is not completely finished yet. It's in the finalizing stages. I'm still putting the last little bits and pieces together. So it is not available right now, but as a Black Friday deal from my side to you, if you want to get that course, if learning how to use your GoPro underwater is interesting to you, you can get it now as sort of a pre-launch special offer for 39 euros instead of 79 euros, what it is going to be sold at once it releases, and the release will be in February 2025. I'll put a link in the chat in a moment where you can go and check out the course, and you can also see what it's gonna be including in terms of the topics and stuff. Or we might just as well, let me see, we might just as well show you here. Why don't we do that? Just a second, I just gotta pick out the right window and then I can show you. All right, and then we just change the cameras here to my phone so you can see the whole thing. So basically it's just my shop. As you can see, you'll get generally a 20% discount on all my lat packs and the other online courses that I've got available on my web shop. So you can check that out if you want as well. But this is what I'm talking about here. It's the Mastering Your GoPro Underwater course. And you can see down here what is going to be included topic-wise in that course. So we obviously have best underwater settings for your GoPro. We'll talk about shooting techniques to get the best possible results, best practices for the use underwater. We'll talk about recommended accessories. We'll definitely dive into post-production, whether that is with a third-party application like Final Cut, DaVinci, Adobe Premiere Pro, whatever you guys are using, or the GoPro's own editing suite that they have that you can use on your smartphones to edit your GoPro footage. We'll dive deep into that as well. And then we'll also talk about GoPro Labs, which is like a beta version of the GoPro software that allows you to activate certain features on your GoPro that are not standard, that are not activated standard as per standard. And you can kind of supercharge your GoPro that way because it allows you to use it in different ways which are not possible normally. So that's what is waiting in the course there. If that's interesting to you, feel free to check it out. And as I said, you can now benefit from a pre-launch offer. This offer is valid until the end of the year. So if you get the course before the end of the year, you'll benefit from that special introduction pre-launch offer. After that, the price is going to go up to 79 euros. Right. Yes, thank you very much, Rebecca, about your excitement for the GoPro course. I'm very excited as well. It has taken me way too long to create that course, but as you know, life is busy and stuff comes up, and you get distracted from the things that you really want to do. So I'm really happy that I got around finally capturing the footage and starting this course, and I'm really excited to share it with you, and then to publish it in February next year. Yeah, really, really excited myself. Right, so why don't we talk about the underwater videography workshop that is coming up in April 2025. As you guys probably know, we're going to the I was going to say to the Philippines. No, we're going to the Maldives, and we will be staying on a local island, on Dangeti Island, with our friend Rifshan. He's the one owning the dive center on Dangeti Island. He's going to be the one taking care of us in terms of the diving, the accommodation and everything, and I'm really excited that this will happen. Now, some of you have reached out to me and asked whether or not I can do like an add-on portion so that it's not just 1 week in the Maldives, but that we can extend that a little bit, because of course I understand the time to get to the Maldives, depending on where you are on this planet, takes it takes a little moment to get there. So people just want to get the most out of their time there, and I totally understand that. So we were looking at options, what we can do, and we came up with a 4-night, 5-day add-on trip down in the very south of the Maldives in Formula, which is an island very famous for its tiger shark population. So the way this is gonna go, let me just show you. Here on the trip brochure. You can hopefully see it now. It's gonna turn around. So the way this is gonna go is that after we finish our regular underwater videography workshop, the 7 days that we have in Dangeti Island, for those of you who want to join us on the add-on, we'll be going back to Male Airport by speedboat. From there, we'll catch a domestic flight and fly down to Formula. This is only like a 45-50 minute flight, I believe. And there we'll get back into the hotel on location and do the dive center check-in and everything. And then we'll have 3 diving days. 3 diving days with a total of 9 dives and with 3 dedicated tiger shark dives. The other dives are going to be reef dives, wall dives, where we're mainly going to be looking for pelagics, larger stuff like manta rays, other types of rays like whale sharks, different types of sharks, not just the tiger sharks. But three of those dives will be dedicated tiger shark dives. Oops, sorry for that. My phone just went into sleep, and that's why your screen just blacked out. It's gonna come back in a moment. There we go. Yeah, so that's the add-on that we're doing. Let me come back to you. So that's the add-on that we're doing in the Maldives, on the Maldives Underwater Videography Workshop. It's while we're down in Formula with the tiger sharks, we're not really going to be doing like a formal underwater videography segments anymore, but it's more going to be like a fun add-on part to this trip, trying to get really nice shots of the tiger sharks, of the other things that we're going to be seeing, and just having a good time down in Formula as an addition to the 7 days that we'll spend on Dengeti Island. I'm really excited about that part. I've never really done like a dedicated tiger shark dives, so I'm really excited about that, and I'm really looking forward to it. As I said, still a couple of spots available, so if you want to check them out, let me just put let me just see if I can put the link to the registration form in there. And all right, so this is your registration form link for the Underwater Videography Workshop. Yes, thank you, John, for your question about the tiger shark sort of baiting situation. These guys are actually not doing that. They're not feeding the tiger sharks while we're in the water. They do that beforehand. And there is no like hand feeding or live feeding while we are underwater. It is the places where these tiger sharks appear are fairly shallow sort of reef spots, and it's only in about 8 to 10 meters, I believe, of depth, where we just position ourselves in like a specific way and watch for the tiger sharks to come in. They are still baited, that's true, but they place the bait there beforehand, and it's not done while the divers are actually in the water. So you won't see a dive guide actually feeding the sharks underwater. That's not how this is done in the Maldives and with the operators that we're going to. I don't think any operator down there actually does it that way. As far as I know, it's not really accepted in the Maldives that you do that. So I hope that answers your question there. It is, yes, they are baited dives, but it's not, you know, live bait that they give to the sharks while we are in the water. Right. So since we still have a couple of spots, I just wanted to make that so a note on my piece of paper here. I nearly forgot to tell you. I thought about this before, and as I said, we still have a couple of spots available for this trip, and I really want to fill up these spots because I want to give as many people as possible the opportunity to come and learn in the beautiful Maldives, and then obviously also come and do the tiger shark add-on if you want to with us. So I have decided that until that, for everyone who wants to sign up to the Maldives trip between now and the middle of December, I'm gonna give every person a free one-on-one lesson in the Maldives. This is a lesson that we normally sell for $350. It's a half-day session that you can book in addition with me or with Sebastian, and you can use that for anything you like in connection with underwater videography. Obviously, you can have us teach you or coach you underwater. We can talk about post-production, we can look at your camera setup, we can look at your shooting techniques, anything that will really help you improve on your underwater video game. You've got us or one of us for half a day. And that is, as I said, normally priced at $350 for everyone who decides to book that trip kind of last minute and join us, and everyone who decides to book that trip in between today and the 15th of December, you will get the one-on-one coaching or one-on-one coaching session during the trip for free. So if you're still on the verge of joining us, maybe that is something that will help you make that decision, or if you know of someone who might want to come and join us, then please do feel free to pass on that information to that person and let them know about the good news and that we still have spots available. Right. Oh wow, John, I plan to book this week. That is very nice. Well, if you do, John, then you've heard it here now and it's recorded. You'll get that one-on-one session for free, my friend, and I'd be very happy to have you on this trip with us. Awesome. So there's been some questions. One question from Rebecca. Let's pick that up before we go any further into the rest of the points that I've got scheduled for this little talk here today. Rebecca says, any advice for fast action shallow on the iPhone dive fork? In native app, I'm thinking action button and highest frame rate. Anything else? What are you, Rebecca, maybe you need to elaborate a little bit. What do you mean by action button? I don't quite understand what you mean by that. What I definitely do is put it in higher frame rates, absolutely, as you said. Would you go to like 120 or even 240 depending on your iPhone model? Maybe. I personally would try to keep it on 4K, which if you have a 16, then yeah, that's 120. If you have a 15 or below, it's gonna be 60 frames per second. Anything else for fast? Like, are you thinking like fast moving action where you actually have to move your phone around, you move your camera around to capture that action? One thing that I can think of is obviously going to be the focus, which is going to be a little problematic. But with the iPhone, that usually works quite well. So I am not too worried about that. I think one of the most important things when we talk about fast moving action shots is that you're paying attention to the composition, especially because it's going very quickly. So that before you start, because normally fast moving action shots, you know that you're expecting that kind of scenario ahead, a little ahead of time at least. So you can prepare mentally at least, I think. Try to pay attention as to where the sun is, how the light's coming in, where the structures are. Sometimes it makes sense to not start shooting right away, but to hold back for like a minute or so, especially if you're in a place and you're capturing action where you can quite certainly say that it's not going to come by once, but it's going to be repeating that same sort of movement and you'll get more than one chance to capture it. Maybe try to use the first couple of minutes to just observe the animal, the action, and how it plays in front of you. What is the path that the animal is taking, how it's acting, what it's doing, so you get a bit of an understanding for where to position yourself, so you get the best angle, where it might be going next, so you can kind of move into that direction already ahead of time and be ready for the animal when it does that turn it always does when it comes in that way. So that's probably one thing that is quite high on the priority list for me, just giving you that little extra time to observe, take the scene in, and then set up your shot, frame it, correctly and start filming. I think on the settings side, you were saying it quite right, Rebecca. It's highest frame rate or higher frame rate. Shutter speed will be adjusted automatically, so you don't really need to do much there. And that's pretty much it. Go, maybe if you use like a wide angle conversion lens, maybe go on the ultra wide lens of your iPhone, the 0.5 lens, so that if an animal does come really close to you, you still get it decently in your shot, you know, so you still get like the majority of the animal in your shot rather than just getting like an eye or a fin or whatever else it is if you're with the one-time lens. Don't zoom while you're recording. A big no-no. And for those of you who know me better, you know that I really don't like that. I don't like zooming while recording. So pick a field of view and stick to that, and just try to get the animal to come closer to your camera by positioning yourself in the right place, by anticipating where the animal is going to go, and by just framing your shot in the best possible way, I would say. Okay, so Rebecca's talking about a sardine run with seals and maybe marlin. Yeah. Always, Rebecca, I keep always reminding you about the positioning and where the sun's coming from and stuff. Oftentimes, while we talk about positioning, oftentimes with these wide angle, fast action moving shots, you don't really have time to set your lights and stuff. So, well, that's actually a good add-on to what I was saying before. I'm not so sure if lights are very important. I would say they are not very important in such a situation, because if you pay attention to where the sun is, if you're shallow enough, you pay attention to where the sun is, that's going to give you a nice sort of ambient light source and ambient lighting to your subject, and it's also going to stay uniform, you know, because the sun's not going to move, so the animal's going to stay the same. But if you have your lights on your camera and you have them cranked all the way up to the max, and then the animal starts coming in, like to say the seal starts coming in, what's going to happen is that if it's further away than 3-4 meters, the lights are not going to have any impact whatsoever. And then as it comes closer, the lights will just blow out the animal, because it's coming closer and closer and closer, and they will just get very intense. And most likely the iPhone, your smartphone, will not be able to adjust that exposure quickly enough. So you'll have a couple of sort of like a moment or two where it's going to be too intense, too bright, too much exposed. So that's probably another good one, a good tip there. Lights be on the conservative side. Yeah, have them on, but have them on a low level, so that once the animal comes in really close, you just give that little punch of light onto your object, and it just gives you some nicer colors. But don't crank them up all the way, because the result's probably not going to be very good, and you're running a fairly high risk of getting backscatter recorded much more than anything else if you crank up your lights all the way to the top. Yes. Right. So I hope that answers your question there, Rebecca. If you need some extra explanation, or if something wasn't clear that I said, please just let me know in the chat, and I'll be happy to elaborate a little more on that. But I would say just positioning, being aware of your surroundings, using the wide angle lens, lights just very light, don't crank them up all the way. But I think the most important is really the observing, just making sure, especially with these scenarios in Mexico with the seals, they are around. They will be coming back and going again and coming back. So you have plenty of time on these dives. Just observe for a little bit and see what they're doing, and try to capture some stuff that way by positioning yourself. Try also to, because sometimes with these things it's difficult if you just have an animal and then there's just blue water and no background. Maybe try to position yourself in a way so you so you have something in the foreground that you can use as like a nice composition element in your frame. It's just going to make your It's gonna make your shot a little more interesting than just filming out into the blue, if you know what I mean. Right, okay, so let's move on. I've got 2 more things that I want to talk to you about before we get to the Q&A, the official Q&A session. But first, I nearly forgot, I wanted to show you something else. I wanted to show you, let me just bring it up here. Where's my photos? I wanted to show you this here. This is a little, hold on, here we go. This is a little teaser from Formula, from the island where we're going to be for the tiger sharks. It's a little teaser from like the organization that runs the dive center and the hotel that we're going to be staying at, and this just gives you a bit of an idea of, you know, it's the hotel that we're going to be staying at. Just gives you a bit of an idea of the place and what it looks like. Unfortunately, I don't really see a lot of underwater footage. I think there's only like some shots from the drone, but at least I wanted to show you this so you get a bit of an idea of what the island looks like. All right, so let's come back before this starts running again. Awesome, so this is giving you a bit of an idea what the island is going to be like. No, I don't think alcohol is allowed at Formula, Rebecca, because this is still a local island. But I'll check up on that. I'm not entirely sure. I know that on the local islands it's not allowed, but it might, because they do have a strong tourism sector on that island. It might actually, they might actually have some exceptions in like the resort and stuff, in the hotel that we're staying at. I'll definitely check up on that and let you know as soon as I can. Right. So, as I said, 2 more things that I'd like to talk about before we get into the Q&A. One of them is that I have decided that I'm going to part ways with my no, not with Sebastian, but with an kind of equally emotional bond that I've had for a long time. I'm parting ways with my beloved GH5 and GH5S setup that I've used for many, many years. The thing is that ever since I got the red Komodo 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, I haven't really used the GH5S with my Nauticam system pretty much at all, and it's really just been sitting in my cupboard, and I find that to be an absolute shame. So I've decided to let go of it. I'm selling that set. It's a complete set with the GH5. There's 2 bodies, a GH5, a GH5S, a Nauticam housing, several lenses, wide angle, macro lens, the Ninja V monitor, a monitor housing from Nauticam. So it's an all-inclusive set that I'm selling. So if you guys know of anyone who's looking for a, I'd say, semi-professional to professional underwater video rig, and wants to use the opportunity to get one second-hand that is in very good shape but massively reduced, I've made the math for all that's in that set, the sort of new prices. It will come to over $18,000, and I'm selling the set for $7,900 or nearest offer. So if you know of anyone who's interested or who might be interested, let me know or connect us so that we can see if this is something that they would like to further pursue. And the last thing that I want to talk about is this t-shirt here. I don't know if you guys noticed, I don't really have my regular t-shirt on that I normally wear on these during these videos. This is a first of a couple of t-shirt designs that I've started to make, and this t-shirt is has just kind of launched on my merch shop, which I will link in a moment in the comment section in the chat as well. It should actually, underneath the video, there should actually be a little bar where you can find the link directly to the shop. So if you enjoy that, if you like that design, feel free to go and check it out. Might also be a good Christmas gift idea for your favorite dive buddy or your or a family member or someone else. So feel free to go and check that out if you want to. Right, and with that said, I think we're ready to go into the Q&A. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them into the chat, and we'll have a look at what is coming in and how we can answer those questions and help you. And while we're doing this, what I'm going to do, let me just pull it up. Here we go. I'm just gonna show you the GH5 rig that I was talking about before, and what is included in that rig, just in case, as I said, you know someone who is looking for a second-hand, well-maintained underwater videography kit, which contains everything that you need to start capturing your underwater adventures in a high quality manner. So right, let's come back here. John has submitted a question. For both operators in the Maldives, do you know anything about the quality of rental dive gear? How important would it be to lug my dive gear there? Well, it's a very good question, John. I can tell you that Rifshan, that the first section on Dangeti Island, where we're going to be doing the workshop. He has very new dive gear. I've seen that personally when I was there last year and 2 years ago, actually. He uses all backplate wings as his BCDs. I'm not sure if it's Dive Right or another brand. I'm not entirely sure of the brand, but it's all really new gear, and he takes a lot of care and actually a lot of pride as well in saying that he has some really good gear. So that rental gear at Dangeti Island is definitely top notch. So I wouldn't worry at all using that gear whatsoever. I'd be more than happy to do that. On Formula, I don't know from personal experience, but from what I've talked to the operator down there, they also use high quality and well maintained new gear. And from what I've seen in like their promo videos and in their photos and stuff, it looks like it's all very well maintained and high quality gear. So they look well after their gear. So personally, I don't think I would worry too much about lugging your gear there unless you really want to. But I think that safety is shouldn't be an issue with using the gear on location. With Rishran, I know for sure, and with the other one, I can even check on that for you if you want to, and I can get some information as to what kind of rental gear they have to make sure before you make that decision whether you want to bring your gear or not. I hope that answers your question. Yeah, I understand that you would rather rent than bringing everything with you. It can be a hassle. I totally understand that. Yeah, I know. Rifshan is actually one of the first ones that I've come across as a dive shop that rents out backplate BCDs, and I think it's a really good thing. But then again, he's a lot into technical diving, rebreather diving. That's all supported with Scuba Divine Maldives. They do a lot of training there. Rifshan is actually a rebreather trainer himself, so even if some of you want to try that out during our workshop there, I'm sure we can organize something to give you a spin on the rebreathers there. So he knows how important high quality dive gear is, and he really makes sure that all his gear is in spotless condition. And I really like that. Well, that's one of the reasons why we've picked that dive center to be our host for that underwater video workshop. Excellent. Any other questions, guys? Well, yes, as I just said, Rebecca, there might well be an option to try out some rebreathers. I don't know how many units he's got available, but I'm sure we can figure something out with Rifshan. He's a very easygoing guy, and I'm sure we'll make something work. Cool. So, any other questions, guys? Let me know in the chat. Other than that, there is not really a lot else that I can talk about today. The last couple of weeks have been fairly quiet. I've just been working on some projects, some clients here in Switzerland, but also some clients abroad that I'm doing some promotional work for. Maybe one thing that I might want to add, just quickly let me read the comment. Yes, it's gonna be warm water, John. It's gonna be 29, 30 degrees Celsius, which is, I need your help now, I don't really know what that is in Fahrenheit, but that would be like in the 80s, high 80s, I think. I think that's high 80s in Fahrenheit. So yeah, very tropical, very warm. Like I was just basically diving in a rash guard and like sort of rash shorts, just for sort of sun protection and sort of scratch protection. But it's really warm, so you don't really need a thick wetsuit at all. 3 mils is more than enough, absolutely. Yeah. So yes, the other thing that I was gonna say is that I had a meeting last week with my dive tour operator of trust here in Switzerland, because they're gonna help me to organize our next underwater videography workshop, our next trip, which is gonna happen in 2026, and it is most likely going to lead us to Japan, because a lot of you guys came up to me, during our last workshop in Indonesia and brought up the idea to organize a workshop to Japan or in Japan. And I just didn't really know what the diving is like in Japan and stuff, so I put some work into this, and it seems to be rather complicated organizing stuff, because a lot of these dive centers there, they don't speak English, everything's just in Japanese. So I decided to go with a dive tour operator that is going to be doing all the back end for me, organizing everything so that we can just focus on having fun and learning more about underwater video during that time. It's probably going to be a trip that is going to take us to 2 different destinations, 2 locations. One's going to be more sort of like reef diving with manta rays. They've got like a manta ray population there, cleaning stations. It's going to be manta rays. The second location is going to be a little more specific, a little more special in terms of it's not a lot of coral growth and stuff there, but they have a very active population of hammerheads, like big schools of hammerheads that are very commonly seen there, and that's like the big thing there. So we'll probably do like, and this is still in the early stages of deciding, we'll probably do like a week in one location and then a couple days in the hammerhead location, and then we'll also have an optional sort of land excursion part for those of you who want to join myself on just exploring a little bit of the country of Japan while we're already there and while we have made that way all the way to this side of the world. Yes, so that's the news there with workshops. I'm really excited about that. As I said, in the workings, we're still trying to put a nice program together and get everything sorted and organized. I'm hoping that sort of in January, February, well, latest February, I'm hoping next year I will have the details and I will have the brochure and everything ready so that I can put it out and let you guys see whether or not you want to join us on this trip to Japan, which is going to be very special, I think. Very, very different to the other underwater videography workshops that we've done so far. So Johanni, you've obviously been to Japan from your comment. What is your feedback? Did you do any diving? That would interest me. And from like your heart emoji that you sent, I guess that you liked it. And yeah. Yeah, yep, that's what I saw too, John. There is some really cool content out on the web about Okinawa, and that's one of the places around Okinawa where we would be going to. So yeah, we'll see. It's, as I said, in the putting together phase, and as soon as I have more details, I obviously let you know. But it's most likely going to happen in sort of early October 2026. So if you're thinking about this being a cool trip to join, maybe you can just keep it in the back of your head that don't book a vacation already for October 2026. Okay, cool. So Johanni was just traveling. Yeah, that's good to know. Safe country. And I like that Johanni enjoyed Japan. That's a really good feedback. I think we'll be having a good time there as well. And I'm actually really curious about the diving because I've heard different things. The stuff that you see on the net is just really, really spectacular. But I've also heard that it's like very sort of focused in certain areas. So we're just trying to find the best areas for that so that we can have the best possible spot for our dives and get some spectacular encounters and hopefully film them too. Right, so any more questions, guys? Otherwise we would slowly but surely call this a day. It's been great having you here on the show today on our monthly underwater video talk. Let me know if there's anything else. I'll give you another couple of minutes if you want to put any more questions in the chat. But other than that, we'll leave it at this. Or what I'll do, by the way, I nearly forgot. I'll do that now. I will put some of the links in the chat just in case you do want to grab yourself some discounts for Black Friday. I will leave those links down so you can do that. They will be, for those of you watching later, they will also be in the video description later on. So don't worry, you don't miss out on these. And yes, Rebecca, I have played with Final Cut Pro 11. I'm loving it. And I can tell you that next Tuesday, the video is going to be about the magnetic mask. I always call it magic mask, but it's a magnetic mask. And about how you can use it on your underwater footage, like I think it's called like 3 ways to use the magnetic mask on underwater footage. Quick tip series that is gonna be published next Tuesday. So it's recorded. I just need to edit it and upload it, and it will be published next Tuesday. And I'm really excited about that. The magnetic mask is something absolutely stunning, absolutely like brilliant. I'm loving it. Something that DaVinci already had before, and now Final Cut is just catching up there, and I'm really loving it because it means that I don't have to move over to DaVinci. I can stick with Final Cut and still get the benefits of all that really cool technology being used there. A good and cheap macro lens for beginners is what Jens is asking. Well, that's not a easy question to answer, because what means cheap? You have to define that a little bit. And the problem is also that good and cheap usually don't go hand in hand. I'm just searching for something here on the computer. Let me just see. So I'll share something here with you in a moment. I'm just trying to bring it up. Oh wow, this is products here. Wet lenses. Just one moment. All right. Here we go, Jens. This is for you. Have a look at the AOI lens selection. This is a Chinese manufacturer, and they produce really high quality underwater products, including underwater wet lenses. They have been doing this for many years, but they used to do it for a long time for other companies. So they wouldn't produce, they produced the products themselves, but they would publish it under a different brand name. And now they've started to actually use their own name and sell the products under their own name, like a year or two ago. And I really like their products. I think they're really good quality-wise. They are a little bit more on the expensive side, but it's definitely worth paying a little extra for that, in my opinion, because finding a good macro lens is not that easy. And also, please, maybe you can also elaborate on what camera you would like to use that lens. Is it like a smartphone, a diaphragm system? Is it like an action cam? Is it like a compact camera? That might also inflict or make a difference as to what you're choosing. Yeah, I think that a 6x is not a bad thing. Diphog, they are actually, Jens, they have some specific lenses that are for smartphones. Let me just check. Where are we? Just one second. Where are they? I know they have some specific lenses that are made for... Oh, here. This is the one I'm sending you the link now. This is the one that they recommend themselves for smartphones. Have a look at that one. That's a close-up lens for action cameras and smartphones. And this one is actually a good selection, or a good choice, I better say, for the dive fork system. That's gonna give you nice results. And I don't even know what it cost. Does it say here? It doesn't say right here. Yeah. Does that help, Jens? I hope so. If not, just let me know, and I'll see if I can elaborate a little more on that. Excellent. Yeah, no worries, Jens. This is too confusing. Sorry for misspelling your name. Right. Anything else? Let me know. Other than that, we'll call it a day, and I'll let you go ahead with the rest of your day. My day is pretty much over now. I'm just gonna shut down the studio and go up to my family and enjoy the weekend, which I am having now. Don't miss out on next week's Tuesday's video. As I was teasing it already, it's going to be about the magnetic mask in Final Cut Pro and how you can use that tool on your underwater shots for some stunning effects that you can create, whether that is titles or color correction, subject separation. There's a couple of interesting things that you can do with that new tool in Final Cut Pro, and I'm excited to show you that next Tuesday in the next video. Other than that, we will have another live underwater video talk in December. I think it's scheduled for December 20th, if I'm not wrong. Let me just check that. So I'm not... Yes, December 20th. So we'll have another one of these talks there. If you will care to join me, I'd be very happy. And other than that, I'll just see you in another video, I guess. Thanks so much, guys, for tuning in and for being with me. I hope this was as much fun for you as it was for me. Not much more to say than keep capturing all those amazing underwater adventures of yours, and I will see you in the next video. Take care and have a great weekend. Bye-bye.